What's up, cousins? It's DYANAROZAY, and I bring a unique commentary to your favorite reality TV shows and whatever is popping on social media. I need you guys to come in, join the discussion, become a subscriber if you are not already, and make sure your notification bells are on so that you don't miss a thing. Welcome back, cousins. Welcome back, cousins. And if you are new here, welcome to the show, period. Okay, welcome to the family, period, because we are here to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is the reunion, first part of the reunion, by the way. And yeah, it was the bomb.com. I actually had a good time watching it. So come on in, everyone. Welcome to the damn cookout. Hopefully y'all got yourself some Kettle One. Okay, I got a little bit in here with what is this? This is lemon elderflower soda. I don't know if you've ever had that. It's at Trader Joe's, but it's really good. It's really good. But come on in, come on in. I see Miss Belicious is in the house. Hey, Belicious, my friend, my family, my cousin. So listen, y'all, come on in, everybody. We are here to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta. This was actually a good episode from start to finish. Kelly, oh my goodness, Kelly was, let's just say this. Kelly is definitely coming back next season on somebody's goddamn back, because that child, okay, she does not care. She is willing to say, do whatever it takes, okay, to make sure she has another seat on that couch. And she is now sitting second seat. First seat is K. Michelle, which shocked me, right? Because we all know that the two people that left off season 16, Shamia and Portia, they was the hot tickets, right? And for the truth of the matter is, this season 17, Shamia was still a hot ticket. Like, she got more than half of episode 16. She got more than half that was dedicated to her. However, she doesn't have a story that people are really biting into. People want to see what's going on with her and Portia. And unfortunately for her, Portia said, bitch, you won't get it out of me. You know what I'm saying? So that made her story a little off. But I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people have been saying that they think Shamia is really smart and she was just playing her cards, and, you know, she's playing chess, not checkers. The person that was really playing chess, not checkers, was K. Michelle, which is why she is sitting first chair. And I'm going to explain this to y'all because I was shocked after watching last night's episode. Number one, y'all know K. Michelle came on as Portia's friend. And even though, you know, it came out somewhere along the way, we really didn't know each other, she still came on the show through Portia. What the production team wanted was for Portia and K. Michelle to really, you know, play it out. They thought that Portia would help bring out K. Michelle's personality. Probably thought she was, you know, the wild fun girl. And that is important because the way K. Michelle broke off from Portia immediately over some absolute bullshit. And we know it's bullshit because of what she said later in the episode, but we'll get there. Anyway, the way she broke off from Portia and immediately aligned herself with Portia's ex-best friend, the op. So she said, bitch, if you want good TV, because we all have been saying, K. Michelle, girl, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's been getting on our nerves. Why isn't she the old K. Michelle? Why isn't she a K. Michelle that any of us recognize, right? And now it is making sense. K. Michelle is the person who came on playing chess, not checkers. I don't want to be Portia's sidekick. I want me and Portia to be, you know, on the same level. And I'm going to fuck around and find out. You know what I'm saying? So she comes on. She immediately aligns herself with Portia's ex-best friend on nonsense, right? On nonsense. When Portia is asking her questions on the reunion last night, Portia was like, listen, girl, I was literally calling you because, you know, they're neighbors. Remember, it also came out that they live next door to each other. But Portia comes on the show and she's like, girl, I was calling you and saying, I'm sorry you feel that way. I apologize from the bottom of my heart. And the second I'd hang the phone up with you, you would get on social media and start calling me a bitch. Oh, who she thinks she is? I can't stand her. And, all that stuff, right? Portia's making all these jokes. And I'm like, well, not jokes, but she's mocking her. And I'm like, oh, that just doesn't happen out of nowhere. That's somebody who thought about this shit. I'm going to make you think something, but I'm going to activate you by talking about you online. And Portia didn't give either one of them, not Shamia or K. Michelle, what they wanted. However, well, that's not true. Hold on. Yeah, she didn't give K. Michelle what she wanted. She did go after Little Miss Munchkin. Kelly, that's who Portia almost fought, was Kelly. But when you think about how all of it played out and how at the end K. Michelle is sitting next to Andy Cohen, first time on the show, brand new, that girl won. And then to have Kelly in the center, and unfortunately, Shamia damn near on the end of the couch. She should have been behind Pinky at that point, because that is how far she got pushed down on that sofa. So my prediction, you heard it here first, my prediction is Shamia and K. Michelle are going to get into it for real, because K. Michelle is going to reveal that the person who told all the shit about Portia is Shamia. K. Michelle's going to tell it, and she can't wait to tell it. And we know this to be true of K. Michelle because of who she's been in the past. Every time somebody tells her a secret or she thinks she got an alliance with somebody, she always reveals whoever it is that thought, that was their confidant. She always do. So I just want to put that little nugget out there that K. Michelle did her big one. And I'm kind of proud of her. I'm kind of proud of her because she let people underestimate her in order to be in that spot. K. Michelle, in my opinion, because let's think about this real good. Nothing that K. Michelle was doing was making sense. She was flipping out over the oddest shit. And even when she's on stage right now, on the reunion stage, when she was talking about it, I let people get in my ear and blah, 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 blah. The two people that were holding their breath was Shamia and Kelly. They were looking down. They were doing like this, but they were bracing themselves. They did not want to be the big reveal. And there was another thing that happened on that stage that made me think that's some slick shit. When K. Michelle was like, I always fight for the underdog. I don't like to see people bullied. And when she was telling me, and she's referring to Shamia, when she was telling me that she was being bullied and blah, 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 I felt bad for her. And you know what Shamia said? I didn't tell you to. I didn't tell you to fight for me. I didn't tell you to have my back. I didn't even want you to, like that kind of shit, right? And K. Michelle caught it, but I just want to say, when people say stuff like that, when you have taken a bullet for somebody and somebody says, well, I didn't tell you to. Well, bitch, you kind of did, because you were having little sidebar conversations with them. You was taking her to the club and saying, and having her mother say, I hope you're a real friend to my daughter. There was a whole lot of stuff that you did do to say, I need you in my corner. So they're definitely going to explode next year. And the production team is going to get what they want. She's going to find her way back to Portia Williams. That's just what it is. So come on in. Hey, Erica. Erica is one, and she is such a pretty lady. She is one of my members. If you guys would like to become one, y'all can hit the link at the top of the chat. But yeah, that's my prediction. That's my prediction based on what I saw. Okay. You said you rolled your eyes at that bully mess. Of course. Because to be honest, and I'm just going to say it, I've been doing this for a little while. The truth of the matter is, some people get the TV personalities, these reality stars, they will find their blogger, they will incentivize them, okay? They will incentivize them. And then there is a group of bots, people whose faces you don't see, who say certain things in the comments. And all it takes is for it to be said a couple of times, a few hundred people saying the same shit over and over and over again on everybody's platform, on every social media page. And all of a sudden, if you're not strong in your thinking, you'll start saying, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is how it's supposed to be. The truth of the matter is, I don't give a shit what nobody say. Yeah. Shamea was not bullied. Okay. She had the lightest of light seasons, considering everybody else's first season or second season. Portia Williams has gone through a bunch of dirty dog, nasty shit. Her job has been threatened. Andy Cohen told her one time, if you get into another fight, and he said it to her on the reunion stage in front of her peers and a full television audience, it'll be your last time on this motherfucking show, right? Knowing that, and then trying to bring the old Portia back onto the platform, she was more bullied than anybody, in my opinion. Angela was more bullied, being called Bigfoot and showing pictures of her pants and her shoes. That was more bullying, in my opinion. So what? Shamea could have held her own. And the people that she was aligning herself with at the end, Ashley and George, like I told y'all last week, George, the release of that audio where George is up there acting like he's Mojo Brooks or some shit, according to him, it was a joke. I didn't hear anyone in that audience laugh. He said he saw that woman for the first time at a gentleman's club. And when he saw her, he said to himself, he had to pay her. That's not a joke. It wasn't funny. But to take what he called a joke back home to his neighbor and repeat it, I would be more upset. Like, well, motherfucker, what was you thinking to repeat that joke? If it was a joke and you meant no harm, how did it even come into your brain to say it again? Verbatim, right? Anyway, something's going to happen within these next 2 episodes of the reunion where it sounds like Shamea is going to say something that's going to get herself, in a sling with Angela. Angela said something's about to be revealed. So we shall see. You want to scream from the mountaintop that Shamea has not been bullied. She's just getting back what she put out. Exactly, Malicious. Exactly. I agree with you 1000%. I kept saying, why isn't anyone giving examples? How can you not see everybody on the show is bullying this girl? No. She had as many friends and people in her corner with whatever these little remarks that were being said toward her, in one ear, out the other. Didn't even matter. So yeah, I agree with that 1000%. But anyways, y'all, I just wanted to share that little tidbit. I also want to say, if you are interested in purchasing the lip bar, there is a duo. I'm wearing it right now. The colors I am wearing, let me see if I can put them up here, is Prima Donna and Playmate. I don't know if you can see it. Oop, hold on. I don't think it's catching the name, but these colors are Prima Donna and Playmate, and really pretty colors. But if you guys are interested in it, there is a sale where you can get a duo lip color for cheaper than you would buy them separately. Okay, so if you like, go ahead and hook yourself up. The link is either on your screen or there's a link underneath the menu bar. Okay. All right, let's go. So listen, we get a little behind the scenes footage when it opens. All the girls are coming in their limos and things. Okay, getting out the car, coming fresh from the hotel with baseball caps on, robes, whatever's going on. Hell, Pinky felt so relaxed that she was actually dyeing her head. Y'all know Pinky has a TWA, very short cut, but she's also pregnant, so she probably wasn't using hair dye. At least that's what, the doctor tell you. But once she got in there, she said, baby, she wanted her hair freshly dyed. So they had her at the sink. Now, when Andy Cohen comes in, he sees Pinky. I was expecting him to say something because we've never seen that before. We've seen the girls do a lot of things to get ready, but we've not seen that. Um, Fortunately, he just, he let it wash over him and he went to the whoever the next room was, right? But we had Pinky getting her hair dyed. We also see Kelly telling Shamia that she had to borrow Eveline's dress. Eveline from the Wizard of Oz, baby. She said, listen, child, I busted up in my dress yesterday, the one that she was originally supposed to wear, which I'm glad she gave us that information, because I was hoping she didn't choose that dress as her first pick. No, she said that she had split that dress open when she got her butt into it and her whole twat was exposed. So she had to go with option B. Okay. Her first option gone. Anyway, after that, we see Andy Cohen meet up with Portia. And Andy Cohen said, listen, they're singing and bopping and dancing or whatever. And he said, listen, I think that there's an opportunity for you to leave here and be cool with everybody except for Shamia. And Portia said, exactly. You're exactly right. So the fact that Andy Cohen said, baby, my expectations, and just so you know, he's basically saying to her, you lead this show, right? This is your show. You are the middle peach holder. So I want to make sure that you walk away having a decent relationship with everybody, so that next season of filming, we can make sure these girls sign their contracts, whatever it's supposed to do. What I know might not happen is Shamia, so I'm not going to put too much weight on you. But everybody else, you make sure you leave here on good terms with. And I hollered, but Portia said, exactly. Okay, let's go on with that. Next, we see a man named Jarvis. Okay, Jarvis, who I thought Kelly said when she was in her confessional, let's just call him Jarvis. And when they asked her, well, first they asked her what his name was, right? And then she was like, let's just call him Jarvis. But she made it seem like it was some fake, phony name. This man, when he walks in the door, it literally says Jarvis, and he appears older. He also appears much thinner, or excuse me, bigger, not thinner. Because the guy who came in the costume, he kind of strips down from the costume, right? He took off the motorcycle helmet. He had on a Pooh Shiesty mask. He had on a pair of pants that looked like they was hanging off of his ass, which is why I said he's a YN, right? I thought she was dating a YN. He seemed like he was very, very smitten with K. Michelle. Hey, K. And K was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? For half a second, I thought he was going to ask for her autograph. And I kept saying, why would a man who's willy-nilly just, giving away $70K allegedly, why is he so starstruck with K. Michelle? You know what I'm saying? You could see her anywhere at the Waffle House. At the Waffle House, you know what I'm saying? She's regular. She's one of the girls, you know what I mean? Anyway, I just thought that shit was interesting. Just pointing it out. Anyway, I'm not sure that the person we saw on screen as Jarvis is the same guy that showed up at the reunion as Jarvis. But I do want to say this as well. Here's some more tea for y'all. A week or so ago, maybe last week, Shamia did a video. She posted it on IG where she was showing her penthouse suite. She was like, hey, babe, she's on the phone with Gerald. Hey, babe, I'm at the hotel, and he upgraded the room that production bought us, and he got me the penthouse suite, right? And she's walking around the room and showing the audience, showing whoever her followers are. And when she ended the call, she didn't say, I'll see you later, right? Because filming is one day. She didn't say, I'll see you later. She said, thank you, babe. In other words, Gerald will not be at the reunion again this year. And I just wanted to put that out there. Okay. Jarvis, a motherfucker we did not see, period. I don't care if he did allegedly show up in a mask and a helmet. He didn't need to be here at all. But a man that we only heard about barely and really didn't need to be at the reunion showed up. Gerald is not here. Gerald is not here. Not if Shamia is calling or showing video footage of her calling her husband and then saying, he got me, girl, after 11 years of marriage, why couldn't you just put your credit card? 10 or 11 years of marriage. Why couldn't you have just put your credit card down when you got to the hotel and said, yeah, upgrade me? Ciao, bye. Um, anyway, is that who the chair was for, Jarvis? I guess. I mean, Kelly is sitting second seat. Kelly is sitting second seat. Okay, so after that, now the girls are on stage, okay? Andy Cohen is immediately cracking jokes saying that he hopes that Papa Smurf and Mr. Clean don't catch any more strays. He hopes Papa Smurf and Mr. Clean doesn't catch any more strays. You said Gerald wants nothing to do with this. Well, we did get force fed just a couple of days ago how Gerald is so excited about the show and all this other stuff. He just happened not to be there again. And I know they get fair, warning about when they're going to film. So he also immediately cracks a joke on K. Michelle where he says that he's going to figure it out. He's going to figure out the plot. He's going to figure out the plan. Whatever the shit was that K. Michelle cried about for more than half the season, he's going to get to the bottom of. Unless it's a scheme that Todd set up, that might be something he's not able to crack. But everything else, he's going to crack. So that was hilarious. I enjoyed that part because let's face it, even though she was trying to whoop Drew Sidora's ass at the end on the season finale, when Drew was like, "You were fucking crazy. You were a crazy woman all season. I'm happy to see that you're doing better, that you're doing something you love." But the second she said you was acting like a crazy bitch talking about we set you up, that's when K. Michelle kind of went after her, right? She was the one who chased her, and then production or security grabbed her, and Drew unfortunately fell. But when she got back up, she was like, "Who cares, bitch?" You still is everything I said you are. A liar. You're still crazy. You're still all the things. And I'm going to say, Drew Sidora is my scene snatcher. I honestly felt like Drew came out of something really hard for her with that divorce. And I think when she was sitting up on stage, it was just one of those situations where you're like, bitch, with everything that I came through, with everything that I lost, none of you hoes can hurt me. None of you, there's nothing anybody could say or do that's going to hurt my feelings. And I liked that she was in that season, okay, when she was on that stage. So good for Drew. Anyway, he ends up going down the line and introducing all the girls. With Portia, he said, "Happy Pride, girl." And she was like, "Thank you. That's how I like it. No shade," that kind of shit. Then he said something about Phaedra. Oh, Phaedra got a flashback of her and Jasmine Crockett that we didn't get during the season, but we do find out that Phaedra has ambitions to run for office, right? Drew got up quick as hell. She sure did. She has ambitions for running for office, and she said, "It's not a maybe, baby. It's not a maybe. It's going to happen. It's a part of my bucket list, and I'm going to get it done." And I'm interested to see what her platform is going to be and what she wants to do. I find that really interesting. We know that Dr. Heavenly ran for office. She did not win, but it seems like it really changed her life because she's dedicated her YouTube platform to social justice and, more things about voting and getting people out there trying to educate folks. Not just her YouTube platform, but her IG platform as well. So it's really interesting what people learn when they are doing politics and how they, especially if you have means, because Dr. Heavenly isn't a broke bitch. She doesn't have to care about the community at all. But the fact that she is still fighting for people, I think that's pretty impressive. Okay, moving on. He tells Drew Sidora that she looks great. Drew says that she had a little nip tuck. And Andy, who is always nosy about what the girls get, but he was like, "Do tell, what did you get done?" And I think Phaedra says something like, "You got a new booty," and Drew said, "Well, it ain't leaking, right?" And then, of course, K. Michelle took that as shade, So she said, your mouth is leaking. But I want to say the way K Michelle handed her, this is another clue, by the way. The way K Michelle handled herself on stage, no crying, no, I'm a victim type of shit, just a quick snapback, right? A quick snappy comeback like we're used to with K Michelle. Why are you crying? What's the problem? K Michelle was so different sitting in that first chair position than what we have seen her all season. Damn near. It just told me a little something about Kay. I'm looking forward to seeing what was going on. Okay. Okay. So next up, Shamia. Andy Cohen just said, hey, Shamia. And she responded back, hi, Andy Cohen. He said, would you like me to mime that? And she said, no. Why would you? And he said, I don't know. Well, Shamia, your most viral moment was you miming your argument with Portia through text messages. You said you can't say what was in there, but it was a whole lot of this, and that was your biggest moment the whole season. So Andy Cohen, who probably didn't know what the hell he was reading on his cue cards, he just knows that the writers gave it to him. He's like, I don't even know why I asked you that question. And Shamia forgot too. Shamia forgot too. I thought that shit was hilarious. Anyway, Shamia, you should have mimed, girl. That's what you were doing. Angela just talked about Charles. Basically, she said San Antonio helped Charles win, or at least the Knicks win, so that Charles can feel like he was a part of the Knicks game. So, because he went to see it there. That was it. Kelly joked about her Tom Ford t-shirts. Whatever. Puddin', K Michelle actually sits there when Andy said, hey, Puddin', how are you? How are you feeling? She said, I'm ready to talk. That's how she introduced herself. I'm ready to talk now. And Pinky announced that she is with child. And Pinky was actually glowing. So I was really happy to see that. Congratulations to her. Cool. Let's get to it. The next part. Now, y'all may have noticed that the girls were actually divided by teams, right? Team Portia, Angela, Drew Sidora, Phaedra, and then we also know that Cynthia Bailey is going to come out and sit on that side of the couch. So that was the Team Portia side, and then clearly Team Shamia, unfortunately, it may be Team K Michelle. They were all sitting on the other side. I did just want to point that out because that was important. Okay, moving on. So they opened up talking about same-sex relationships. This is a conversation that's had every season. I have had this conversation so many times. I don't understand why every time they go on girls' trips, they are tonguing each other's down and patting each other on the ass and humping on each other, all the stuff. But they talk a little bit about it, right? Andy Cohen basically reconfirms with all the girls, hey, so I remember that all of y'all have had some sort of lesbian experience, except for Phaedra. Phaedra was like, that's right, not me. Angela, she was like, yep, not had one. And then he said, and Shamia? Shamia's like, well, no, I've never did. I did kiss a girl. And then, I even felt one up in one of the movies that she was in. Who cares? Anyway, while she's saying this, Portia is giving her a nice hearty stare down. And I was kind of curious why Andy even asked for a reconfirmation from everybody. Why was it needed? But I think they wanted to get Portia's reaction, because the last time when Shamia said, I never did, we all remember Portia giving her a look like, bitch, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? But this time Portia made the comment where she said, basically, I don't have anything to say about Shamia. I'm not outing Shamia on anything. I don't believe that she's homophobic. She said all of those things to clear whatever energy people thought she had around it. She said, I don't believe that. I just think that Shamia was throwing shade at me when she was being asked questions in an interview. And Shamia swears that she wasn't throwing shade, even though everybody knows she fucking was. Who cares? Anyway, Um, Andy Cohen also asked Drew to explain more about her needing a physical therapist for her pelvic floor. Nobody believes, and I do mean absolutely nobody believes, that Shamia has not had a same sex relationship, maybe even with Portia, because I don't know, there's something wrong, seriously wrong, with whatever is going on, the energy between the two of them. Okay, at least she was coming off like she was real heartbroken. Whether she was playing it, playing it off or not, I'm not sure. By the end of it, most people was tired of Shamia, which is why K. Michelle is sitting in that first chair. Okay. Anyway, we all know that Shamia was fact checked all season long. I want to put this out there too, child. Shamia had been fact checked all season long. If y'all remember, anytime Shamia got something wrong, hold on. I'm sorry about that. I done lost my notes. Okay, let's go backward. Sorry about that. Drew ends up confirming that she was divorced, right? Because Andy Cohen, after Andy asked about who on the stage has been with another woman, after that, Andy starts talking to Drew first. All right, take the poll at the top of the chat. Let me know who you guys think really owned the stage with how they handled themselves this first part of the reunion. But Andy Cohen asked Drew to explain her physical therapy for her pelvic floor. She attempted to. Andy Cohen said, I still don't know what the fuck y'all are talking about, right? And then Drew also confirms that Black had stayed on the phone with her the entire time they were filming. They said they filmed for 3 hours. So Black was sitting in one of those like high chair stools with a ring light camera in front of him the whole time, the entire time. So people were like, that man either really loves you or y'all got something going on. You know what I'm saying? Also, Andy Cohen had asked her, hey, Phaedra did a viewer's question and she wanted to know if Drew was still in love with Black and if Drew would let Black chomp on her lady parts. Chomp on her lady parts. And she was like, what? And she went, like that, like, girl, chomp on you, because everybody knows he has those big white teeth, right? He does have a pretty smile and they are extra white, child. He has a very beautiful smile. Anyway, Drew had nothing bad to say about Black, and I do mean nothing. She said, listen, child, this man he's been a good person. He's an excellent businessman. He does great things for the community. She stood 10 toes down for Black, even though Black has this, dark cloud over him. It has come out that he is a scammer, that there is multiple women that he had taken hundreds of thousands, possibly millions from, and basically promised them some get rich quick thing and didn't pay out, right? But she did absolutely answer politely and correctly. Now, I say that to say I was actually impressed with her, how she handled it. You know what? I'm not going to throw that man under the bus. He's going through some problems. She really handled him with care, which is cool, right? Didn't have anything bad to say. Shamia and Kelly basically come after her and said, well, girl, it's real interesting that you're saying you never consummated your relationship with him, because didn't you say you were in love with him? Now, Kelly says, you said you loved him. Drew said, I did say I loved him. That doesn't mean that, I'm hugging him just because I said I love him. But Shamia said, you told us you were in love with him. Now Drew has to explain the difference between in love and love. I don't know why it mattered to Shamia that much. But I say all of that because production loves to fact check Shamia. Every time Shamia gets something wrong that she has heard, and it has happened multiple times during the season, they will run the camera back just to see if it was accurate. And sure enough, it wasn't. She said love, not in love. So I just wanted to point that out because a lot of people put a whole bunch of faith into what Shamia says. She hears things a certain way. It might make her feel a way, and she acts on that energy, but it's never correct. It's not usually correct. I'll put it that way. Anyway, Drew ends up saying, since they were so worried, that she is freshly out of a divorce. I'm freshly out of divorce. I'm not interested in bringing any new man or situation into my life, especially since I got babies who is heartbroken about me and their daddy breaking up, right? I got to make sure the person that comes into my world is ready to take on my children too, that they're as serious about my children as they are about me. And Portia was, in the amen corner. I know that's right kind of thing. She right. Don't do that. Yeah, just because y'all are out here hoeing around, Kelly, just because you was willing to, jump on Jarvis's bones doesn't mean that she got to find a new man to jump on. And even if she is jumping on him, she wants to keep it a secret, let her keep it a secret. Boom. Okay. Anyway, after that, Kay makes a comment. Oh my goodness, Miss K Michelle, my God, today. The way Kay was a whole new person on this reunion literally floored me. The number one thing when she started, she was like, well, that's why I didn't want to be connected to Black. Well, I think Andy Cohen actually asked her, how do you feel about what's going on with Black? She was like, that's why I didn't want to be connected to him. Well, bitch, what? Didn't you say you didn't know that man from Adam? Didn't K Michelle say that all she knew about him was that he showed up at one of her concerts, sent her a DM, but she, basically left him on red, wouldn't know him from a hole in the wall? Isn't that how she responded? But now she is giving all the tea. She's like, this man has scammed every woman in Atlanta, and it's probably smart for her not to bring him around her kids because he'll have the whole family in jail, the kids too. Like, she was really just giving way too much for somebody who said she didn't know him. The way K Michelle turned into a completely different person on this goddamn reunion, I was shocked. I do want to put that out there. K Michelle was adamant. I don't know that man. I don't know nothing about him. Never met him. So what? He came to one of my concerts. He was a fan like anybody else in the audience. He bought a ticket. That's all I know about him. Well, it turns out that she did know him. Apparently, someone that she is, I don't know, does some sort of ambassadorship for, she's a client of, also knows Black, said that they were scammed by Black, and Drew Sidora put it out there. I know exactly who you talked to. I know that you took every word she said and you're bringing it back to this fucking stage. You are gossiping. There's things that you're saying that didn't even come out in the news. So that's how I know that you knew exactly who he was, right? So once again, Drew is vindicated. There's a lot of shit. And let me just say this, all the stuff that K Michelle was doing to Drew all season long, it definitely had something to do with Black. We just got to find out what else is involved, because K Michelle was a real monster toward Drew. She really was. You said K is not playing with a full deck. Damn. We knew that K Michelle was lying about not knowing Black. We definitely knew because she was just too fucking emotional about it. But it was just real. I was surprised. I know people are always saying that, people don't ask the right questions, but Andy Cohen should have definitely said, Drew, the way you were very adamant about not knowing this man, it's really interesting how much you do know right now, because that stuff was not in the news. Okay, anyway. Drew ends up telling K Michelle to watch her mouth, right? She basically told her to watch her mouth. You're slandering this man. You don't know shit about him. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't care who told you what. You shouldn't be bringing it back to this stage, right? And if he sues your ass, good for you, because K. Michelle said that the man was hiding out in Thailand. That he was hiding out in Thailand, child, that he was on the run. She was saying so many crazy things that everybody was just sitting there like, what is this about? Who says stuff like this, right? Anyway, I agree. Watch your damn mouth. K. Michelle says that Drew is always doing things behind the scenes, and that's the reason why she has such animosity towards Drew. We don't know what it is that Drew has done to her behind the scenes. Drew looked at her like she was crazy and said, I've never met you a day in my life. I was excited to meet you for the first time on this show. We don't talk outside of this show. We're not in the same places outside of the show. We don't hang around the same people. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You are a loon and a tune to me. And I agree. But again, Andy Cohen, he dropped the ball in asking something very simple. What happened behind the scenes that I don't know about? And I'm the host. I should know. Production knows what goes on behind the scenes. They'll tell me so that I can bring it up here. There's no follow-up question. It's almost like they're kind of nervous to ask K. Michelle questions. Not sure why. We all question K. Michelle's marriage too, but we're going to get there. Anyway, he doesn't ask her anything. All she says is that all this stuff happened behind the scenes. And I just want people to stop saying that. If you can't tell us what happened behind the scenes, don't bring it up. Don't come on the reunion and bring it up. I think it's bullshit. Anyway, Drew ends up pulling out something called a clapperboard. Y'all know the thing that people use to say action and cut. She pulls out a clapperboard and starts banging it and talking about cut. You guys say I'm the actress. Y'all the fucking actress. Y'all the actress. Y'all the one who's performative. She's right. They are performative over there on that side of the couch. All of them. Kelly is a liar. She don't care what lie she gets caught in. Kelly cackled so many times during this reunion. And the reason why it was funny is because all the shit she was cackling about was all stuff she herself was actually doing, have done, basically clap for when it's somebody else on her team doing it. But she didn't mind laughing and getting a good hearty har out of anybody else on the other side. That was absolutely hilarious. But anyway, after she pulls that out, everybody said, who the f do you think you are? Especially the other side. Who do you think you are? This girl really thinks she's an actress. She's a nobody. They start trying to run her down. Andy Cohen said, that's a good one, Drew, right? That's a good one. Everybody give Drew a round of applause. It didn't land well, unfortunately, for her. I felt so bad for her because I really wanted her little prop to work, but unfortunately it didn't. Anyway, Andy Cohen ended up taking it away from her. Okay. After that, Shamia decides that she's bringing it home with this question. Shamia, the person who confessed she had lost $100,000 in an investment that she didn't even have a contract for, right? That bum rum, didn't even have a contract for, and she had already, according to her, dumped $100,000 minimum. She said six figures, 100,000 minimum. And she said, well, Drew, are you giving Black money? Did he take money from you to invest? And Drew said, no. Okay, bitch. And even if he did, the answer would still be no. Worry about your own bad investments. But when she says, did you give him money to invest? Kelly, who I think they are calling, did they call Kelly Shakelly? Shakelly is howling. Like that's the funniest thing she ever heard. Kelly laughed so many times during this reunion. Again, somebody who is going broke, whose finances is in the blogs every other day, who is being sued every other day, is laughing at the idea that Drew Sidora might have lost some money. might have lost some money, honey. And this is after they had that heart to heart where Drew said, I am so sorry that you are going through this with your ex-husband. I relate because I don't know where I'm going to be living in a month or two whenever this divorce is over. I don't know if I'm going to have my children. They boo-hooed together. Drew cried. That Kelly opened her entire mouth and popped her head back and laughed her ass off at the idea that Drew might have lost some money behind Black. I'm pointing this out because when I tell y'all, Kelly said, bitch, make me the villain. I don't care. Make me the villain as long as you offer me another contract. I don't give a fuck. I need the money. And that's important because not everybody's willing to play the villain, okay? Like I told y'all before, when Kenya was on the show, when Kenya first started her first couple of seasons, she said, if the villain is what you want, the villain is what you get, okay? Now, she might have got burned out a little later, but she definitely said, I want to be on the show. Kelly is doing the same exact thing. Just pointing that out, okay? You said Kelly better sell them teeth. She better. Kelly is a piece of work. I just want to point this out. This might not be Kelly's real personality, but Kelly is doing what she needs to do to stay on this show. Not everybody can be a good guy, and I don't care what show you are on. Somebody has to do their thing. This is just what we watch. It's how we read books. It's how we watch TV shows, whether it is reality TV or fiction. It's just what it is. Kelly has signed up to be the villain. Fuck everybody else, okay? Anyway, after all of that, Drew tells Shamia no. Kelly said, Drew tells Shamia no, and she also said, be careful about what you read in the blogs, right? Be careful about what you read in the blogs. Y'all be taking shit and running with it, and you want everybody else to give you the benefit of the doubt. But when it's me, you don't give me the benefit of the doubt, is what Drew was saying. Anyway, that's when Kelly pipes in and said, bitch, you didn't give me the benefit of the doubt either. Didn't you have your ass up at the restaurant I used to own? Okay, with your video camera talking about Nana's Chicken and Waffles is closed. And Drew said, well, that's because you came for me. You came for me, how I sing, what I look like, all these things, right? And so she said, I repaid the favor, bitch. Don't be mad at me because I did it better. That's how Drew said it. Don't be mad at me because I did it better than you. That's all it is. And interestingly enough, Miss Kelly said, I'm not, and kind of gave Drew her props. You did do it better than me. Exactly. That she said it right. Okay. Anyway, Kelly said that she's tried to support Drew throughout the season by playing some of her songs on her IG page. This was a lie. Now, she did play her song Delulu, but it was to make a joke out of Drew. And this comes all after saying, I don't follow Drew. I don't listen to anything she got going on. Somebody had posted pictures of her body. It came down my timeline, so I ended up reposting them. But you also was playing her music. You were posting her music, and you were making fun of that as well. So she did do that, and then she tried to play it off like it was just, she was just, I was being kind. This was sisterhood. This was me supporting you. Either way, Kelly's a hot ass mess. The ladies clock it, all of them. Portia, all of them said, child, get out of here with the bullshit. We know exactly what you were doing. I also want to say this because I did write the notes down. I don't know if anybody was paying attention. Shamia, oh my goodness, honey bunny. I know you are pretty and everything, but girl, for the reunion at the minimum, go on ahead and don't do Botox in your forehead. In your forehead. Shamia's face when she was trying to make expressions, her forehead wouldn't move. So you didn't, I was like, is she sad? Is she angry? We don't know. We don't know because your brow wouldn't ruffle. You know what I'm saying? It was okay to do that a couple of weeks ahead so that it'll give you a little bit of movement up here, but she could only move this part of her eyes. So she just looked like, I can't even do it, but her head was completely stiff, completely frozen in time. Okay. Anyway, Andy reads another viewer comment, and this one is about Drew's mommy makeover. Okay. To which everybody decided to get their little jabs on from the other side of the room, including Kelly. Kelly is cackling like it's the funniest shit she ever heard. Again, Kelly's face, season 16, we were all like, could she please lay up off the damn injections in the cheeks and the lips and the nose and the mouth? Everything about Kelly's face was inflated to the point of where she had social media looking up pictures from back in the day and saying, this is Kelly's face now versus who Kelly's face looked like before. But Kelly, again, is laughing the loudest and the hardest. Absolutely hilarious. Shamia has done something to her face and I couldn't figure it out. Maybe that's it. Shamia's face was not what it should be at the reunion at all. Nobody else had that problem. Everybody else didn't have that frozen face look. She did, though. Anyway, after the cackling, I also want to point this out because that's what I do, child. Y'all remember her laughing also because they made the joke. Well, people are saying, Drew, that you are trying to look like Portia Williams. More cackling from Kelly, Miss Kelly, who literally was wearing the same brown cat suit that Shamia wore when she went to see Maximilian. Took her coat off and let everybody see what she was working with. Same one. That's what Kelly wore to Phaedra's office. What's the difference? Portia and Drew at least look different. They have two different body types, two different shapes. Drew is shorter than Portia. Drew's bottom isn't as big as Portia. Portia is taking up for Drew, though. She's like, listen, Drew's beautiful, and I don't know why anybody's up here laughing because everybody on this stage has had something done. Kelly said, not me, just my breast. How is that not having your body done? You still had something done, Heffa, and you get your face done all the fucking time. You have a budget for it monthly. When you went to that guy to do your finances, he asked you what your budget was. You was telling him everything. So she is still, just like I said, the audacity. She does not care. She is a hypocrite on all levels. She is a hypocrite on all levels. I just hope that she can stand in it because there's nothing worse than someone who plays the villain and break down later. Okay. Anyway, the only person who piped up and said, I ain't had shit done is Pinky Cole. She said, baby, I think it was Phaedra who said she got a flatty waddy. She said, baby, I got a flatty waddy and I ain't changed shit. It's still a flatty waddy. Okay, so don't come for me and put me in this we all had surgery shit. That's not true. Accurate. There's a question given to Angela about her possibly being jealous of Shamia because, you know, she's always coming after her. And Angela said, there's a whole list of people. If I was going to be, you know, the Jolly Green Giant, okay, there's a whole list of people that I would be jealous of before I got to Shamia. She's nobody. I'm going to say this. I agree with Angela on that level. Is Shamia pretty? Yes. Is Angela pretty? Yes. What the fuck is Angela jealous of Shamia for? She is a good looking woman. She has wealth too. What is wrong with y'all? Not to mention the fact, we can put this out here. Shamia is not happy. Shamia is not happy with the life that everybody thinks everybody else should be jealous of. She's not happy with it. She's not satisfied with it. And it's as clear as day. And we're going to get to the reason why in just a minute. All right. Now we are on to Portia. Portia gets her package. And basically, it's about her being in love. That was her storyline. She done found her damn person, right? And it shows Cordell. We start with Cordell and her crying about getting a divorce, and her mama, Miss Diane, saying, well, you know, he ain't no damn body. What did her mama say? I don't even think I wrote it down. Hold on. I didn't write down what her mama said, but her mama said something like, "Who gives a damn if he ain't the one for you? You'll find your person, right?" And they do it for everybody. And I think Portia was laughing at first, but then she kind of got a little, you know, sheepish about it because they showed not Gerald, my bad. They showed Simon, they showed Mike, they showed who else? Dennis. They showed everything. Dennis getting on one knee to propose for Portia. To Portia, I think that's what got her a little bit. You can tell when her face changed. And I wish that people would leave her alone about Dennis because that's still someone that's fucking with her a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's still messing with her heartstrings. But oh yeah, he was the wrong damn man. That's right. Her mama said he was the wrong damn man. Well, they played that soundbite with every person, but when they showed Dennis getting on one knee to propose, it kind of made her. They didn't show her face again after that because you kind of see her get a little sour about it. But anyway, they even showed the ghost of Simon. They showed the ghost of Simon walking by, and then he said, you know, I'm surprised to see you here with a woman. Andy Cohen says that to Portia. And Portia said, me too. You know, at the end of the day, she says she's in love. She's happy. She's proud. Hold on, y'all. If you guys can hear me, put a 1 in the chat, please, because I just lost my signal and I want to make sure that people can hear. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so she basically says, I'm in love. I'm in love with this woman. I have, you know, basically that she didn't always know who she should be with, or she hid that part of her that she was interested in women. And now she says she is able to be her full and complete self. She doesn't have to hide anymore. And when she said that, everybody on the cast claps, except for Shamia. Everybody on the cast claps for Portia when she says, I can be my full self with this woman that I am in love with. And this is important. So Andy says, so you didn't have this with any of the men? And she said, no. Hold on 1 second, you guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, she said no, and then she made the comment, and when she says this is why it's important. She said she is a very submissive woman. I'm very submissive in my relationships, meaning that she's also submissive to Sway. But she said when I was with a man in the past, they were okay with me being submissive until I had to turn on Portia Williams. When I had to be this for the show or this for my fans, they all of a sudden got in competition with me. They would get in competition with me. And Andy says, I'm so sorry. And she said, yeah, you know, it's confusing because you don't know who to be. You don't know if they're loving you for you or if they need you to be a certain way. And we all saw that shit with Cordell. I would say that for sure. Cordell didn't like the you know, Portia Williams, the star Portia Williams. He didn't like that part of her at all, at all. But she says that, and she said, with Sway, it's the first time that I can be me and whatever me I need to be. Okay. And she's completely 100% okay with it. She doesn't have any problems with it whatsoever. And I was like, wow. But while she's saying this, I hope y'all were paying attention to Shamia, because the one thing I have said on this channel from the beginning is Shamia is two different people, and maybe more than that. But when she is around Gerald, she becomes this very conservative, dot every I, cross every T. She is a completely different person when she is with the friend group. She's popping, locking, making all kinds of, joking and shit. She's just a freer spirit, but she's not that with Gerald. She is very much head down, eyes down. Sometimes the camera will catch her rolling her eyes because she thinks that he's too stiff or she doesn't like what he's saying. But if anybody's jealous of any fucking body, that girl, Portia Williams, you can tell she's operating on a different level of freedom. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm also going to say this. I don't think that Dennis was jealous of her. At least he didn't seem to be. I think the reason why he's still in her life is because he didn't give that, outside of the baby, is because he didn't give that level of jealousy. Who is so fake? Holly Berries. You're talking about, tell me who you're talking about. Shamia is a very different Taurus. We usually are real. I agree. I agree with you. I know Taurus. I know a Taurus very well. And she's shocking that she's so different, because Taurus really can't hide who they are ever. I mean, they'll start one way maybe to give you that, I'm gonna be as cool as I can be, but if you pop out, you get them the wrong way, it's it. But anyway, she says that, and I thought that is really interesting. But anyway, they were very happy for her. K. Michelle is, oh my God, I'm so happy, clapping for her. I believe Pinky yells out, basically, I really love that for you. I am very happy for you. And that said a lot. Everybody, of course, on her side, on Portia's side of the couch, says the same, that they're happy for her. But I thought that was a very interesting statement to make, that she is herself all the time, that Sway is not jealous of her stardom, and that no one's controlling her. Because again, the peak that we got into Shamia's life with her and Gerald, she told Kelly, I'm not allowed to have certain scenes. If I get a movie, I'm not allowed to kiss. I'm not allowed to have a love scene with a man or a woman. And that's kind of fucked up, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you want to get to a place where you think you can be as free as you can be in living your dreams. And if someone's dictating how you live them, then you're not as free as you should be. But anyway, Portia was also asked, girl, how is Dennis taking it? And Portia said that I guess there might be a little bit of competition between Dennis and Sway still. But he has met with Sway, and sometimes he makes remarks online that Portia believes to be disrespectful to her relationship. And he just made a comment, I think last week, when Portia said that she wanted to, when we saw the episode where Portia said something like, I want to be exclusive with you, Dennis actually put in the comments, he put like big eyeballs, and then he put like a writing pad, like he was taking notes. What is Sway doing that I should be doing to get you back? That's what he was writing in the comments. And everybody was like, Dennis, you had your chance, go someplace, that kind of thing. But I was like, he's not going to give up doing that, because he knows it bothers both of y'all. And she also said that her mother is 100% supportive. She actually choked up and got real teary about it. And I'm guessing maybe she thought that her mother would be the person that was not going to support it. Maybe the mama's old school, but she seemed to be okay. And that's good. That's good. She said that she loves her no matter what. Okay.
I also want to say this. This is the other thing. Andy Cohen was like, well, we saw you on vacation. She said, yeah. Sway took 14 of us on a private jet on vacation, letting all the girlies know. Once again, bitch, it's always about me. No matter what, I'm always the prize. I have a standard that I set for myself, and I'm never going underneath that standard. So the way everybody like to say, bitch, you know what? You're a gold digger, you're a gold digger, you're a gold digger because of Simon. She a gold digger because I don't think she's a gold digger personally. I think that she just has a standard, and many women do. A lot of women do. People aren't used to seeing Black women have a standard, though. That's what it is. But just because some 18-year-old kid on a rap song who left his mama's basement decided to call somebody a gold digger and probably lives in his mama's basement right now because, rap music have a shelf life and he probably isn't making any money from that, okay, anymore. But just because some 18-year-old kid said the word gold digger and everybody started running around calling people gold digger, there's a lot of women who have standards, and we should be looking and teaching people to have a standard so that they don't fall into the bullshit that happens. You want to be equally yoked. Portia is on TV. She makes lots of money. She has businesses, and it's okay for her to want somebody to take care of her, somebody who could at least meet her where she's at. And she told Andy Cohen she paid for that trip. 14 of us, my family and her family and my daughter. Okay. And if y'all have been paying attention to her social media, Sway, when Portia is going on her trips or doing interviews for the radio, Sway is the one who is holding her bag and holding her daughter's hand while she's walking into rooms to do interviews. So she ain't lying when she said, baby, she lets me be me. Okay. Dennis wasn't jealous of Portia. He just couldn't keep his dick in his pants. I agree with you. I don't think that he was jealous of her either. I think the reason why he gets invited back on this show, I think the reason why he is still a part of her life is because of that. And I do see the other people getting jealous. I think part of what we see with Simon right now, even though that news came out that he signed the deed over to Portia, and everybody was, chit chatting about it online. Oh my God, because everybody has been, wishing her the worst. Oh, she's there. She can't pay for the house. She can't do this. She can't do that. Turns out he had to sign that shit over to her. And it probably had something to do with the court imposing something against his businesses, whatever he still has in the United States, and saying, you need to figure this shit out. So he ends up signing it over. And then he puts out there that there's an $8 million debt. And there's been a lot of bloggers who did the work. I know Vanessa Reality Recap, y'all see her on my channel. She went and she looked up some stuff. And the truth of the matter is, the debt he was talking about was $8 million. It was the home that she lives in. And according to a breakdown, and I want to say it's Waego, and I apologize if I got that name wrong, child. But anyway, according to that breakdown, they said that Simon put a $3 million, damn near $3 million deposit on that house. Okay. So if it was an $8 million house, he put $3 million on it. They've been paying down the principal, and that the house probably has about $5 million owed on it. 5.5 million, if nothing else. Does the house have liens on it? Yes. Simon put some liens on the house because he refused to pay his legal debt and some other shit. So they put it against the house. But if Portia was to sell that house, it's going to come out of Simon's share. From what I'm understanding, Simon owes Portia, if I'm not mistaken, child, let me get the numbers right. Simon might owe Portia an additional $2 million. Either way, Simon was clowning people with that little statement. Oh, she's $8 million in debt and she can't afford it. Go on ahead and just cry in your milk, sir. Get yourself some brown liquor and cry. Because when she said everybody wants to be in my star, she was talking about your ass. We didn't know Simon. We didn't know Simon prior to Portia. And now, every week, he is somewhere talking, still riding her coattails in this fame shit. Go on and live your life and stop worried about what's going on in this social media RHOA life. Who cares? Hey y'all. She said she can't have long nails the other day because she's with Sway. Simon definitely wanted fame, and for most of us who were watching, we all said it. I said it anyway. I said Simon seems like he is more upset that he's not on this damn TV show than anything else. The one thing he didn't complain about was his ghost passing through. Did he say anything about that? He wanted to be on that show one way or the other, and if he came through as a poltergeist, oh well, he was fine with that. So yeah, I thought that shit was funny. But anyway, she gives the tea. She lets them know that Sway has a good job, baby. She's been doing this for a long time. She got money in the bank. She's made some good investments. She don't mind spending on me. And she's not thirsty. She's not bucket thirsty. Okay. Portia also said some shit about Mike, but who cares? Because at the end of the day, I don't necessarily believe that was a real relationship. She's been paying, I believe they said nearly $50,000 a month in expenses on mortgage and upkeep. I know it's hard to imagine that 265 days a year Portia is able to pay this amount of money so comfortably. Well, first of all, Mrs. Smortland, thank you for being a member of the channel, Sweet Pea. I don't think I have seen you in the chat before. So number one, I just want to say hello to you and thank you for coming out of the bushes and hanging out with us today. And I agree. I think that people have an idea of who they think Portia is. And so they want to keep her there, which, it might be a benefit to her because you can make your money in private. Not everybody's keeping up with how you get your money. And they always attribute it to a man or, a relationship. But she doesn't even get child support from Dennis. Hey, Teresa. Welcome to the chat, girl. And she said that. Remember when Dennis said, when she asked him, or she was like, you don't pay child support. He was like, what are you, a broke bitch now? You ain't never asked me for money before. You ain't never asked me for money. And I was like, huh. Everybody thought, including Dennis's mama, what did she say? I got to protect the assets, the hot dog man. She had the baby and she never asked him for a penny. She didn't want to be known as that girl. So it's okay sometimes to let people have their misconceptions, whatever they think about you, like Kelly, who stays loud and wrong from across the room. She's sitting over there talking to Andy Cohen about her relationship. Her and Shamia are patting each other on the leg and giggling and shit the entire time. It was disrespectful as hell. But Portia never looked their way. She didn't ask a question. She didn't want them to think that it bothered her. She kept it cool. You know what I'm saying? Whatever y'all want to think, y'all can think. Because the truth of the matter is there's only one person who has their name in the news every other day about being broke, and that is Kelly. Apparently, somebody said she got another business closing, and that she owes a man named Gary. Okay, because they started screaming that on the stage. We also found out that both Portia and Phaedra were dating Mike. They were both dating Mike, and Andy Cohen said, "Why didn't y'all put this shit on camera? Why would you bring it here to the reunion? Why didn't you bring it to the camera?" And they were both like, "Well, I told her. That was the only person who needed to know. We friends. I told her." Well, this some kind of way gets under K. Michelle's damn bonnet, okay? Because now K. Michelle was like, "Well, that's all I wanted." And now Portia, who is desperately trying to keep it together because she is tired of K. Michelle, and I don't blame her. But at the same time, K. Michelle is clocking the fuck in, right? So this is what I want to jog y'all memory on when it comes to K. Michelle. So K. Michelle said, "Well, that's all I was saying is I would have loved a heads up about you dating the man I was with." And Portia said, but I wasn't dating him. But I wasn't dating him. And she went, I know. Well, you told me you weren't dating him. And I found out later you weren't dating him. And that's what I get for trusting a man, because I shouldn't have trusted what the man said. And Portia was like, first Portia tried to, talk over her, like, bitch, kind of thing. And then after K. Michelle said, I let this man get in my ear and in my head, this is what she says in the chair, and tell me things about you that wasn't true, basically, because y'all remember she came out and said you was fucking on that man, and I live right next door to you, and you was fucking on my last real boyfriend, and you didn't tell me, and that African had his feet on my kitchen countertop. And then she put out audio and said she had more audio where that came from. K. Michelle did a whole number. Now we are either to believe that K. Michelle is dumb as fuck, or that K. Michelle did what she needed to do to bump her ass into that seat, into that chair, so that she can let the bitches know. I'm going to confuse y'all a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I want people to know you might not be able to trust me. You might not be able to trust me, because Portia's sitting here looking at her like this at this point. Well, which is it, right? Because now she's telling you, just told her that you shouldn't have believed him. And then she says again, but you was dealing with him. And Portia said, don't say I was dealing with that motherfucker when I just told you I wasn't dating him. And you keep putting that on me, the way you were blaming Drew Sidora for saying that you was dealing with Black. You didn't like that. You didn't like for her to say that, or for it to be implied. And I don't like for you to imply it over me. I don't want you to imply it over me. Hey, Kevin, I saw somebody say your name. What's up, Kev? Thank you for coming through and hanging out. But K. Michelle went Lulu Kukululu in the same breath after saying, I realized that man lied and you weren't dating him. You didn't apologize for all the nasty shit you said. You called her out her name. You were calling her whores. You were calling her all kinds of stuff. You didn't apologize for it once. Again, Andy Cohen dropped the ball. Andy Cohen dropped the ball. He didn't say, do you think you owe her an apology? Because I heard the shit you were saying to her. He didn't say none of that. He didn't stop her and say, whoa, 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 whoa. You've changed the story now, because you had the entire table about to fight. None of that. Right. Bimbo. Dingbat. Yes, all of that. All of that. She said she got away with it. She got away with it. Whole time she's saying it, literally, Shamia, Kelly, they're just sitting there. I didn't know. I had people in my head. Anyway, they go into it. They go into it. Did I talk about the K. Michelle shit? I don't know. There was a lot of stuff going on in this reunion, I have to say. There's a lot of stuff going on in this reunion. Somewhere along the way, though, after Portia's talking about her house, maybe I jumped ahead. After Portia was talking about her house, about the house and what she does, where she lives, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Kelly ends up saying, she's saying some shit like, you live in Simon's house. She's cackling about that. You paying Simon's bills. Portia said, bitch, I could explain it to you, but you wouldn't understand. Clearly it's above your pay grade. You wish you had what I had, okay? I thought you and I were going through some similar shit, going through a divorce, and because you had to be a lapdog for Shamia, you're going to say and do anything you can say and do in order to get under my skin and get your new contract. That's really all it is. But anyway, Kelly is over there saying, I don't care. She was like, wasn't you living in Shamia's house? I wasn't living in Shamia's house. I lived in Shamia's house for 2 weeks until I got my new house. That has to be a lie. When you walked into that house, girl, you started crying. You told Confessional or Shamia, one of them, that you would sleep with Gerald. If I'm not mistaken, you said something like you're so grateful, and if Gerald would let you, you would sleep with him because that's how grateful you were for 2 fucking weeks. That's all. Not 6 months, not a year. I don't know. There's something wrong with her storyline. I want her to get her storyline correct too. Between her lying the way she does and K. Michelle lying the way she lied all season, both of them should have gotten checked. Okay. K. Michelle and Kelly made the reunion feel cheap. I wasn't impressed. Didn't like the new cheap feel of it. I am fairly certain, I could be wrong. But I feel like she said something because there was 2 or 3 times they made that comment. One time she was at Gerald's birthday party and she said that I wish, she said something like she wished she could share them, that they're the best couple she knows. And she said something so off-putting that even K. Michelle was like, this is some weird shit. And, maybe that's just how they get down. But it was implied. It was also said by Shamia in the opening scene where she said, I asked Gerald if we could bring her in as a sister wife, and he said no. But I do believe she said that, she would pay Gerald with her goodies because she let her stay in the house. Now that we find out that the house was only 2 weeks, I mean, this lady took a tour of this house. Why would you do that if you was only staying in it for 2 weeks? Kelly lies, and you just got to accept the fact that this is who she is, and this is who she's going to be until she's financially stable. That's all there is to it. If she files for bankruptcy, she can put those judgments in there. We'll see. Anyway, Portia said, listen, Heffa, at the end of the day, you like to make fun of every fucking body. You like to say things about other people that you yourself are going through. You like to shame people for shit that you yourself are going through. And I'm happy that she said it because it's a fact. It's a fact. She is a teeny tiny hypocrite. You said I would never trust her after that. And that's when Angela joined into the fun and reminded her that, baby, you are as broke as a joke, okay? You're broke. You owe the IRS. You owe your ex-employees. You owe the bank. Hell, you owe your ex-husband money, and you owe a man named Gary. And apparently Gary is somebody who she sweet-talked into thinking that he was investing in one of her businesses. I guess it was about $35,000. And there was a whole write-up, a contract for it, and she has failed him. Okay? So that was the end of that. All right, moving on. Anyway, after all of that bullshit, now we are on to K. Michelle, I think. K. Michelle finally gets to admit that she lied. From the majority of the season, she lied. Andy Cohen was like, how do you feel about being a part of the group, child? We didn't know if you was going to be able to stick around. You had us food. The production team was food. We didn't know if you was going to stay or if you was going to walk off set and just never come back. And she said that she had a hard time at the beginning. She said, I really did. The shit was fucking with my head. Not to mention, I had a whole lot of outside voices. Again, both Kelly and Shamia are just sitting there like this, like kids with their hands caught in a cookie jar. Like you can tell that they were trying to, please don't say our name kind of thing, right? Anyway, Phaedra tries to throw her a bone, like, K. Michelle traditionally has hard times with female relationships. And I think coming into this group and realizing she's not the only person with a big personality. She's not the only person who's successful. Once that happened, and she realized she was competing with, this is really what Phaedra's saying, Once she realized she had to compete, you know what I'm saying? It's like kids who are the high school football star, and then they go to college and they realize, damn, every one of y'all know how to do what I do, and y'all know how to do it better. It was the same deal. So that's how Phaedra says it, but in a very sweet way. The bitch didn't realize how competition works, or she felt like she was in competition and she couldn't hang. K Michelle nods because she's not really listening to the undertone of what Phaedra is saying, and she admits, I had a lot of people in my head, without saying the girls, but everybody on Portia's side is like, who was in your head? Because they want her to say Kelly. They want her to say Shamia. Who told you that? Who told you the things that made you hate us on sight? Because, bitch, we wanted you to be okay. In fact, Portia said, I came in last season without one friend on this show. Okay, without one friend, I had a hard fucking time, and I didn't want that for you. I didn't want that for you. And K Michelle sat and she listened and she said, well, a lot of the bloggers told me. There's no bloggers who said that. There was a guy named Jason Lee who said Phaedra called him and said, is she cool? And I said, yeah, she mad cool. Something along those lines. It was in one ear, out the other. I don't know why she took that as they were digging up dirt on her. And still, and Andy Cohen let it slide. He let it slide. And maybe the powers that be in production said, listen, don't bring up the whole oyster thing. Because I would think that you would ask, who told you that shit? Why were you hell bent on believing it? Even after they told you it didn't happen. But that's the most she got out, right? That's the most she got out. Anyway, after all of that, Andy does ask her, why did you not accept Portia's apology? Why was it so hard for you to believe that Portia was just sincerely asking you a question? And then K Michelle lets her newbie gene come out, which isn't really a newbie gene, but because she's been on reality TV before. The truth of the matter is, you got to do reality TV, right? It is what it is. I don't give a shit how many people is in the room. This is what is required, right? Y'all were blocked off from everybody else. You came into the salon to get your nails done. Portia said, I saw Kay. Kay never disclosed to me what was wrong. Kay admits to that. Shamia saw me first. I saw Shamia. She came to visit first. Then Portia came to visit. And she said, and I love Shamia and blah, 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 blah. Portia said, if I would have known that shit, I would have put pedal to the fucking metal to beat Shamia to the hospital, because whatever happened in that hospital changed you and me, because we were cool. And out of everybody on that cast, it was only Portia and Shamia who went to visit Kay that day. And that's how we know that's where the alliance was put, okay? Because Kay can't even make up the story right when Andy Cohen said, well, what was the big deal? And she said, well, I don't know. Why would she ask me that? Even if that's what happened, why would she ask me that? And Portia said, because I thought it was a safe fucking place to ask the question. I was with women I trusted, Cynthia Bailey, Phaedra. Nobody else was there. You were dancing around what it was. My job is to get an answer out of you, an answer that you have told on every fucking scene. My ass bust. I was sitting down, my ass bust. You've told the story a million times, but you was dancing around it there. I think it was okay for her to ask the question. What is it that I'm missing, Heffa? Because we at home were all like, well, Portia would have had to know. But if you just called that woman and said you were in the hospital and didn't give a reason why, even when she showed up there, because you was trying to basically squeeze her out the way everybody said, oh, y'all trying to squeeze out Shamia. Why couldn't she have just been honest and told her, unless somebody told her not to tell her? That's just what it is. Let's not play stupid. Portia said, baby, I would have never danced on your top like that. My child is a rainbow baby. Okay? I've had miscarriages. I've had stillbirths. I know the pain that is. I apologize to you, not just on this TV show in front of a camera. I called you on your personal phone to apologize to you again. I'm going to apologize to you again now because it's just that serious for me, Kay. She said she's some sort of ambassador for the March of Dimes. I would never do that. And she said, even after that, you were still calling me bitches, all kinds of names, getting on your page and cussing me out. And Andy Cohen told her not to do that anymore. Stop using Twitter as the confessional. Because Kay admits, I gave more to Twitter than I gave to this show. And Andy Cohen said, don't do that. My recommendation is you don't do that again. Of course, 100% believe Portia. Even though everybody, y'all don't know who Portia is. I mean, so many people, blogging and on social media, they all went after Portia. Oh, of course she did that on purpose. Even when it was happening, I was like, but what am I missing? What am I missing? Because it wasn't an abortion, or excuse me, it wasn't a miscarriage. It was because of her procedure. And she's already shared it. She's been so open with it. That's been part of her storyline. So I don't know. I realize that this type of stuff is very manipulative. But like I said at the very beginning, sometimes reality people, reality stars, they pick their blogger. Their blogger's job is to work their audience with a story. That on top of whatever bot farm is purchased to keep rolling that same dumb line out there. But it was such an about face from how it started. And again, it was just weird. Anyway, Portia and K. Michelle got into it a few times. K. Michelle ended up saying that Portia was a starless star, which Andy Cohen nipped that shit in the bud. He was like, you are very much a star. You're the star of this show. You're a star, period. There's another point where K. Michelle is trying to call Portia a whore. You use your body for this. And Portia said, I use my body for, because I've been around. I've been through the world. I don't need this for a storyline. And then when she made that comment trying to call Portia a whore, Portia snapped back at her and told her, you talking about using bodies the way your body's been used, bitch. That's when K. Michelle told her to close her glory hole. To even Andy Cohen is like, oh my God. And if you don't know what a glory hole is, bomb chicka bomb bomb. If y'all ever seen them crazy movies, oh my God, look it up. Look it up. It's interesting. Okay. Anyway, she tells her to close her glory hole. That's when Portia said, I'm gonna shut it. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. We're done. We're done. Because again, that K. Michelle never showed up. That K. Michelle never showed up during the filming. I want to be better than this. I want to do this. I'm here because I don't want to do that love and hip hop shit no more. She was loving hip hop all day. All day here. I was like, girl, what is going on? But yes, so after all of that, K. Michelle is able to pipe down a little bit. What else happened? Andy Cohen asked her about her husband. Is his name Caston? He said something about how's your music career going? And, do you regret talking about Caston's, ding-a-ling on national, I think it was during his Watch What Happens Live. Kay admits to regretting mentioning it. I should have never said that. I don't know why I did. Then she goes on to say that pretty much they have an open relationship, except he doesn't tell her if he's sleeping with someone else. She doesn't ask him. She just assumes that he is. She just assumes it. But she's never going to break up with him, ever, ever. She's never going to let some strokes come between them. Everybody on stage is shocked. Like, girl, I mean, what? She said something like, well, listen, nobody takes into account that I've had surgeries and that my body isn't always available. Well, you didn't take into account until just now. If that's how you felt, you would have said it. It would have come right after, I'm okay with this man sleeping with somebody, because you would have said it. It would have come out just that easy. You're saying it here like people are supposed to fucking guess at it. We're not supposed to guess at this. That's your reason to tell us. What did you say? Glory hole was definitely used in the wrong context. That's for sure. But again, she says that. I'm sitting here laughing like, you didn't mean it that way. You didn't say that at the beginning. Now, Shamia and Kelly, they're the amen section for her. Oh, well, that makes sense. If you are getting these surgeries and you're just not able to, you're not in the mood, I can understand why. This is Shamia. I can understand why you would be okay with your husband fucking on somebody else. If there was ever a time to shut the fuck, that was the time. Why would you say that? What difference does it make to you how Caston gets his rocks off? Why? I'm not saying that you want Caston. What I am saying is there's already a cloud of doubt over your own relationship and what you might have going on. So why would you bring it up? Why would you be like, that makes sense to you? I don't know. That was shocking to me. I'm just going to say. The other side of the room was like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Hey, Direese. That's what she said. Now, she said, I don't know what he does. I don't know what he does. I've caught him cheating. He's caught me doing some things. That's an exact quote. And then she goes on to say, nobody's taken in consideration that I have surgeries. I've had all these surgeries and I'm just not available. And he has needs. It was just that there was an amen section from the girl's side. Sometimes it's okay to sit and listen and let that person tell their story. You don't have to get involved in that. Oh my gosh. Anyway, she says that, and I'm sorry, y'all. I'm cracking up at something in the comments. Somebody said that they wish they would get rid of the entire side, the entire Shamia's entire side of the couch. Anyway, that was pretty much it. We get the last scene where K Michelle is just saying, hold on. K Michelle ends up getting a viewer question. The viewer question was, why did you rush to be friends with Shamia, Pinky, Kelly so quickly, right? And I already told y'all the response to that, so y'all already know it. But I hope that this opens up the conversation next week to Shamia and K Michelle breaking down exactly what went on between them in that, I guess, club. The club was Shamia and her mother. Now, Shamia did show a picture of her mother. Her mother appeared to be very conservatively dressed. But we remember K Michelle saying that she had her titties punched up to here and she was dancing with a bunch of men. And it gave us the impression that Shamia's mom might live a little, vicariously through Shamia. And Shamia said that her mother's very respectable and none of that happened. But I'm interested in hearing what those two have to say about each other. And I want to see if K Michelle is able to hold that covenants that she had with Kelly and Shamia. I want to see if she tells on them because we all know where it came from. At this point, I don't care who you are. If you can't tell that those ladies are lying up, down, left, and right, and if y'all can't tell that there's certain, I'm not going to say everybody, but there are certain people that have been incentivized to say certain things over Shamia versus the other way, because you can definitely, nobody's dumb, child. Nobody's dumb. Why would y'all want Melody to come on? Don't y'all think that Melody would have a hard time on that show? She would have a hard time on that show. I don't think that would be a good place for her. RHOA is a million times more ruthless than Love and Marriage Huntsville. It's a million times more ruthless. There's no way. There's no way. Those girls, not just that, but they can't have a whole lot of stuff that comes back out to social media. Yeah. But that was pretty much it. That was the gist of it anyway. Hopefully, I got everybody's part out. The truth of the matter is, we got 2 more episodes to go for the reunion. 2 more episodes to go for the reunion. I just want to see what the dynamics of K Michelle and Shamia is. And I do believe that Shamia and K Michelle are going to be hell on wheels next year. And I think that Shamia is going to be a different person next year as well. I can say this. She, I think she's going to want her seat back. I think Shamia is very competitive, whether people like to think so or not. She is competitive. I think she was willing. I think a lot of the reason why she's on this show is because she wants to be in the space that Portia is, and she wants to win. That's what I think. That's what it was given from the beginning. I think she's totally okay that she's not Portia's friend now. I do. I think that she was okay with blowing up the friendship. I do. But I don't think that she thought her and K Michelle would fall out this quickly. They might fall out, but not this quickly, because we already know that Shamia has been warned about K Michelle by Candy, by Rashida, by Toya, all the girls that she called the Mean Girl crew, the people that didn't like her. We all know that K Michelle, that Shamia has been warned about that, right? You don't want to be her friend, because so now that has been firmly planted in K Michelle's head, Shamia and K Michelle has no other choice but to duke it out next season. And I don't mean physically. I just mean that they're going to get it out there. You know what I mean? Word on the curb is that Andy is playing in our face and Shamessi is not really coming back. Maybe wishful thinking. What do you mean? What do you mean? That's the fight. And I don't, and trust me, I don't think Shamia wanted this fight. I don't. I think that she would have rather had Kay as an ally, but it's on. There's nothing left. There's nothing left. If she didn't want Portia to put her mama's name in her mouth, then she's coming for K Michelle. Yeah, if anyone's not coming back, Bravo does let them tell it. But He did say that he is very happy with the cast as is, even though he, kind of scolded K Michelle a little bit. He said, you shouldn't have let people get in your head. He said it was very obvious that you were letting people dictate who you were friends with. And he was talking about the people on the cast, not people that she's talking about outside of the show. He doesn't know that. When he was looking at the clips or when he was getting his notes from production, they were telling him about what was happening on the cast. And he felt like she shot herself in the foot. He was like, the stuff you were saying, the things that was coming out of your mouth was not matching up with anything that was really going on. And that he hopes that she is able to, change things. She said that she is in love with Phaedra. I was not expecting it. I didn't know. And she said, out of all the people, her friendship with Phaedra is just, tippity top. Phaedra has gotten her a free surgery, her reconstructive surgery for free. My God, today. She's also tried to help her husband get his dental license. So she's really smitten by that. And I think at the end of the day, she knows that they have connections that she'd like to be a part of. That she isn't coming back. Oh, well, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. She's been on for 2 seasons. For 2 seasons, she's also had. Are you talking about her husband getting on and saying that he supports his wife being on RHOA? And then that PR post from his IG. Shamia is very quiet, and it's like she just had an argument before going on stage. No, it's not that. It's not that she looked like she had an argument. It's her forehead. She has a lot of Botox in her forehead. Nothing's moving from this part, so it changes her facial expressions. She also has a dress that was sewn on her body. So if you were watching, I don't know if I saw this in a clip that she has on her IG or if I saw it on the show, but there was a person stitching her in to that dress. And if you look at it, she's the only one who can't move. I'm not making this up. I swear to y'all, I do exaggerate sometimes. I do exaggerate sometimes, for the purposes of entertainment. But out of everybody on that stage, all those girls know they've been there before. They are moving around like this, their whole bodies. They can, laugh and enjoy themselves. Not Shamia. Shamia is stiff as a fucking board. She's not moving. Her tatas are, someone sewed her into it. That little crown thing around the neck, that was sewed up. So if she goes this way or this way, she can bust all those the sequins. I'm not making this up. She said, I know you're kidding. I'm not. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. She was sewn into the dress before she came on. They were sewing it. She did look uncomfortable. Facts. I'm not lying. I wouldn't lie to y'all. That's the truth. Go look at it again. If you think I'm joking, watch how she has to come in. She's the only person that's sitting like this. She's sitting like this. So not only does her body look stiff, but her face looks stiff, very robotic. But everybody else, I was like, kudos to all of y'all for dressing in a way where you can move around. Like you need to be able to breathe. And I think they sit on that stage for hours, like 6-8 hours. Can you imagine? Absolutely not. So is it confirmed that her surrogate is still carrying? Is it confirmed that her surrogate is still carrying the baby? Do y'all know? Okay, let me get the poll results real quick. Okay, so I asked you guys who owned part 1 of the reunion. Was it Drew Sidora, Kay Michelle, or Kelly Potter, or Portia Williams? And 69% of y'all said it was Portia Williams. 23% of you guys said it was Drew Sidora. 5% gave it to Kay Michelle, and 3% gave it to Kelly. I also give it to Portia Williams. I think her story about being with men who couldn't handle her star, couldn't handle her shine, versus Sway, I think that was probably a very touching story that a lot of people could relate to. I also think that her basically saying, listen, I just show up and I give you guys what I can give you, and I don't know how you're going to take it. I don't know what season you're going to hate me. I don't know what season you're going to love me. I can just do me. I thought that was probably, it was priceless advice. It was priceless advice. So we don't even know if, okay, Shamia's surrogate is still pregnant. Okay. That's what I wanted to see. Well, good. I'm glad that is the case. And it looks like the baby will be due pretty soon. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Anyway, not going to happen. She was not going to unseat her. She just need to find her way back to the front. But right now, we'll see. Anyways, y'all, that's it. That's all. I appreciate you guys for coming through. Thank you to all of my members who came in to hang out with me tonight. Love you guys to pieces. Thank you to Kevin for coming through and hanging out. And then, of course, thank you to every single one of y'all, my beautiful cousins, because y'all look good. You smell good. We always have a good damn time over here. Okay? Family, that's what it's all about. So I appreciate every single one of y'all for hanging out with me today. Hit the like button, share the video. If you are not a subscriber, please become one by hitting the subscribe button. Also, make sure your notification bells are on. Okay? Follow me on all platforms at DYANAROZAY. I appreciate every single one of y'all for rocking with me. And until the next time, bye, guys.